We really cut off the hand that fed us when we cut off foreign investment, because the majority of the pre-financing for all of these things came from foreign investment. We cut that off. That was the hand that kept that whole industry going.
So I was in a new building today at Willowdale and Shepherd, and it's just like the whole way to get in and out of the building is all messed up. Like I feel like there was like this void in really good buildable land, you know? And so when you had this great location and this great spot, and you could walk to the subway, like that was the feature of the building that attracted people. If you've got a
Yeah,
property that's on the ravine, it's got this great view, it's, you know, the penthouse, it's whatever, then again, those are the unique features. But we just built a ton of not so unique units in not so great locations in buildings in places that no one ever wanted to build in for the last 50 years, but
Shit
it was just
quality
what
too.
was available. And so
yeah,
those units are so hard to sell. Like unless
yeah,
you are just willing to fire sale it at a really, really great price,
yeah. It's no
like good luck.
question.
Why would a buyer buy that right now? They've got their selection. So I mean, you got to
Yeah,
look at that as a seller right now. If you're a condo seller, you got to say to yourself, do I have a unique feature that you can't get anywhere else to make my property sellable, or is it in a really great building that everyone wants to be in because, you know, or am I just in some like run of the mill cookie cutter building that they built, 300 units in, and you know, I need to be the best price unit around, otherwise I'm not going to sell. That's a hard conversation.
no, yeah, absolutely. And the problem also is that legislatively, we've got government action that is curtailing what the developers can do. But at the same point in time, they are, it's our biggest source of revenue. One of our biggest sources of revenue, of course, coming into the city coffers is development fees and land transfer taxes, etc. So they're all tied to, the city is attached to the outcome of these things. Yet yet you're boxing the developers into these solutions that the public isn't out there supporting, and therefore can't sell, and then therefore there will be no revenue. So it's it's trying to suck and blow at the same time, and that just doesn't work.
But we've made some like huge leaps in that direction over the last few years. Like when we started this show, Darryl,
Yeah,
if you think about all the policies that have been introduced both through the province and through the city on being able to create more density and to be able to get, you know, more height and to be able to, you know,
Yeah.
no angular plane and like all that stuff. Like I'm not saying it's there
No, it's
yet.
all good stuff. The
Baby steps.
timing. It was the
Yeah.
timing that was
timing is
wrong,
yeah,
right? They were
yeah,
so late and in an environment where rates went up, demand went down, immigration got cut off. Like everything was shrinking when all the new good stuff came in. So now we have some better planning, but no one
yes.
can do it, right? Because
Can't
you're
sell it.
fucking crazy if you do, or you can't get
Yeah.
financing or whatever the hell. There's a lot of things,
Well,
a lot of hurdles you got to
you
jump over.
we really cut off the hand that fed us when we cut off foreign investment,
Foreign
because the
investment, yeah.
majority of the pre-financing for all of these things came, from foreign investment,
Yeah.
and we cut that off, and that was the hand that kept that whole industry going.
Yeah.
And then you double whammied it, you cut off Airbnbs, and now you've just removed the whole subsect of buyers that are investment buyers.
Profitability.
And yeah, and you've made that no longer profitable.
Yeah.
And so, you've basically cut everybody off at the knees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard though on a political
So,
platform to be saying we're going to bring back foreign buyers, right? So the
yeah,
deadline
no,
is January 27,
To
and
save the
hopefully it just
country.
doesn't get renewed, right? And then they just say, okay, the ban is off, and you know we're back to allowing foreign investors. But everyone
but I think
blames
the
the foreign.
ban, I think the ban was originally 2025, right? This has just been kind of kicked down the
They
road. But
extended that, yeah.
listen, I hear you, but I'm not a politician, so I don't have to deal with that. Okay, but I
Yeah.
understand the idea of that. But at the same point in time, as we look around this world and we're becoming, there's tariff wars going on all over the place, and we start looking at policies and how, really looking at policies, okay? Do we really want to be the country that turns away foreign money? I mean, I know you have to be smart about it, but one of the reasons why Canada is so great is because it is a safe place to park your money. It is a safe place to own property. Our laws are very, very supportive over individual property ownership. And this is why, whether it's the Chinese or the Russians or Saudi or what, it doesn't matter, wherever. they want their money here because they know their money's safe here. Even if it's
Yeah.
delivering 0% return, it's still safe.
And their kids are safe, and it's an environment that's safe. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You say
You
you're
know,
in the drug cartel. Okay, you can buy this house, no problem. Right? This is kind of how it works around here in Canada. We're a haven for people to bring in money illegally, which was a big part of the process too. I'm not complaining.
agreed.
Don't get me wrong.
Agreed.
It was just part of the soup that we had going on here on top of all that other stuff. Just like you're saying, like we had the foreign investor fool, the first fool that came in that we needed for the process. Then you had like the Airbnb investor, right? Who was the next fool to pass the baton on to. But
Yeah.
then nobody else wanted it after that all of a sudden, right?
The
Not
greater
enough
fool
fools
theory.
left, right?
Yeah.
Well, but this
But
is what the whole
just
thing
to
was
wear
built on.
just to wear the other hat, though, because all of us, we all have a vested interest in real estate doing well.
Sure.
There's a subset of people, a huge part of the population who say, well, foreigners are the reason why the real estate is so overvalued in Canada, and that, it started in Vancouver, and, it's obviously come to Toronto and other parts of Canada, and that if we could have limited that in the first place, it would have prevented prices, getting out of hand, right? And then we'd still be able to afford everything, and we wouldn't have the debt crisis that we do and everything else too. But we can't go back in time. So I may agree with them, but really what we got to do now is we got to, sustain this market, and to be able to come out of this. And maybe there's got to be different policies around foreign buyers, maybe limiting a certain type of property or something. But we need that money coming in. We need 100% of that money coming in to be able to continue what we've been doing for the last 20 years.
I'm not pretending that I've got all the answers, but I just know that cutting yourself off from foreign investment is not the right answer. And, I witnessed it firsthand in Vancouver. I grew up in Vancouver, and Vancouver, from the small town that I grew up in, to what it is now. Obviously, it's a completely different place, but part of the big problem there is Vancouver became the money laundering capital of the world. I mean, all the gray money in the world went in, and they bought houses, and they just let the house sit there and empty. And and Vancouver welcomed that, and they loved it because they were addicted to the rise in their property values, and the city loved it because the property values went up. It meant more taxes, and it just became this kind of circle, a circle that, to unaffordability. So, that's not the right way to do it, but you don't want to be a country, okay, that turns its back on foreign investment. That's the one thing I do know.
Are you looking for the best merch store on the planet? Well, we got the shit for you. Coming in at low prices where we barely make any money off of whatsoever, you can get the greatest real estate merchandise on this platform. Just look at this very flamboyant man putting on this great stuff. He looks great, he's dancing great, and boy does he look sexy in that merchandise. I tell you, buy this for anybody, you buy this for yourself. You will be not only repping the greatest Canadian real estate podcast in this world, but you will also be looking hella good doing it.